Well, based off of films like The Double and Enemy, I'm pretty sure we're all bound to find our doppelgangers this year. Alright, The Double is directed by Richard Ayoade and stars Jessie Eisenberg, Mia Wasikowska, and a few other people as well. I think the first thing that you're going to notice about The Double is that the cinematography is amazing. The environment that they set up is just really incredible. It's kind of this really dark, kind of ominous setting that feels kind of like maybe the mid-1980s or something like that, with balking computers. The technology that we know of today just really isn't present. And I thought that was kind of interesting and pretty fascinating, the way that this environment is set up. There's not really a whole lot of sunlight or any light at all, a lot of dark shadows and different things like that. But the score also plays into that, as it kind of elevates those kind of themes and feelings as well, and works really well for this film. Basically, the story is centered around this character named James, who is played by Jessie Eisenberg. And James is kind of this timid, shy character. He doesn't really relate well with the ladies, not very much of an outgoing person. And he kind of has this thing for one of his neighbors, who's also a co-worker of his, named Hannah. And he kind of likes to peek in on her, kind of does kind of some stalkerish kind of things. Well, after a series of events, we find that there's a new employee at the company that he works for named Simon. Now, Simon happens to look exactly like James. And now we have the doppelganger effect kind of in work here. But what's interesting is that no one else around them kind of notices except for the two of them. And they're polar opposite of one another. James, like I said, is the shy and quiet one, but Simon is more sexual. He's outgoing. He's very friendly. He has this appeal that everyone likes about him. But the two of them still kind of become friends. And I think that's kind of interesting. I think it's when you look at, if you were to meet your doppelganger, like, how would you react in that situation? And it's kind of interesting, especially when they're kind of opposite one another. And the way that James reacts to it, I found pretty intriguing. And very much from Simon's point of view as well, I think is pretty intriguing. The film speaks to identity and kind of what that means, very similar to Enemy, but in a different way that I thought worked really well for what they were trying to do with this film. This film is a little bit more comedic as well, especially with Eisenberg in the role. You kind of feel that with the way that he plays his character. Some of it's a little sarcastic or very witty in some places, depending on the situation. I thought it was handled really well. Eisenberg himself is amazing. Much like Jake Gyllenhaal in Enemy, when you feel the two characters in the same room together and in the same frame, they are very separate from one another. You can tell who is who by the way that Eisenberg plays this. It's really brilliant. You'd almost think that this was played by two actors that just have incredible chemistry together, is the way that it's portrayed. I thought it was absolutely fascinating. And the way that this film kind of goes, it goes in a little bit of a different direction than Enemy, and I kind of liked that. And I kind of liked kind of this dark, ominous story that we have, especially when you see these two characters just try to figure each other out. And really, by the end, they're really starting to become closer and closer to the same person, even though they couldn't be more polar opposites. And the way that you explore that and explore the idea of how would you react in this situation, it's kind of intriguing. It's a very unique look at that premise, and I thought it was handled extremely well. I think from beginning to end, there's only a few things that I found distracting on any level at all, but this movie, I think, it's very intriguing. It's definitely one to check out. I actually am going to give this movie an A-. I definitely think it's one to check out. If you agree or disagree with me, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit me up on Facebook at facebook.com/InSessionFilm, or you can tweet me at InSessionFilm, or leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I definitely would love to hear your thoughts. We're also going to have an extra film podcast on this coming up here pretty soon, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. And also be sure to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes and Stitcher as well. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.